This has been an amazing weekend so far. 7 races in the books, 4 qualifiers, 3 finales, including the men's elite finale that just finished. And it's a beautiful day here, perfect for the men's finale. This is the ultimate event here because it is the most competitive test and the most popular part. So if you're joining us on any, maybe you're following us on AOL Instant Messenger, it doesn't matter. Because you are here and you're in for it, and this is going to be exciting. And it's a beautiful day. The atmosphere here is amazing. We're at, right now, the velodrome, the U.S. National Velodrome here in Los Angeles. It is the home for USA Cycling. It's the home for cycling events from all over the world. And it's hosting today international folks from Belgium, from the Netherlands. I'm not even going to keep naming them because there are so many lots of folks participating in what has been dubbed the toughest video game ever. It is a virtual cycling competition. They're on real bikes, real sweat, real pain, real storylines from the virtual world. And we're excited to bring it to you where esports and real sports collide and sweat falls all over the place. As you see, you've got the cyclo-ops trainers on the floor. You've got the power tap pedals under their feet. Those 2 objects, technology, high technology, feed information into computers with power and avatar in worlds. We race those avatars against one another in a virtual course. Yesterday, we had qualifier races, and we're going to tell you right about now how we got here. In just a couple of minutes, we're going to actually give some of the awards from the men's final that we just finished. So, if you can now, let's some of those highlights. I'll describe what you missed to get you up to speed. So thank you, first of all, for being all right. On to the yesterday, all of the riders.
They will attack anything that moves, anything that makes noise, smells.
They don't care what they sting. They will kill anything.
Black and yellow in color, they work together as the ultimate killing machine, made up of rancids that inject a venomous toxin into their victims. These frightening swarms are the result of an experiment gone wrong, a deadly mistake.
I'm far from home, no place to go, but I don't feel cold. I've been so blind, just lost my mind, but all I have lost I find. Your face reminds me of these games that memories don't erase. I'll never be the same anymore. I'm on the highest top with no control.
Good morning, everybody. How's it going? We are just getting ready to get this race started. We are watching the C-Zone CVR World Cup spring season race number 1. Getting ready to head out of the pins. We've got the ladies race and the men's race both going here. Trying to get all of my windows open here. So when the countdown drops to 0, the men are gonna attack out of the pin here. These are real people riding real bikes. We can show you that here in a few minutes, I believe. Show you a little side-by-side action here. You'll be able to see things. And here they go, attacking out of the pin. We will jump on a rider here real quick and try to watch them take off here. And here we go, mixing in. I'm gonna try to get up here toward the front to see what's happening on the action. And you can see the orange numbers here mean they are attacking hard out of the gate. Get swapped over to a single view here, and you can see ODZ has come out strong. You can tell by their jerseys. These black jerseys with the blue and orange stripes is Team ODZ attacking strong out of the gate. Yeah, it looks like Claudia may be riding for Team Draft. It looks like there may have been a bug in the ladies race. The ladies went forward direction and the men went reverse. So we've got 3 ladies in the main group of the women right now. So they'll race and do their thing. The men will race and do their thing. And go in different directions. Not a huge deal. They're racing one another here. So the front of the men's race here, though, has a lot of people in it. You can see 6 out of 70th is the rider we are on right now. Draft rider McQuaid. You can see for Team ODZ, I'm seeing Andy Jenner, Greg Magnus, Justin Wagner, Batman, Eric Denning. I believe there's Akibe in there. Akibe is our performance bracket winner from CVR World Cup, the major in LA. Good rider there. We'll give him a ride on. So these guys are going to do 3 laps of the Volcano Flat reverse course is the course for today. They are hammering away right now. We can see kind of scrolling back here. You got riders slipping toward the back a little bit. This is where you can see the big gap. We're on the very last rider in the group, and if we look back from him, you can see a little bit of a gap here. These riders off the back, R. Brown, Teshi, if they don't push really hard right now, they're going to lose contact with that pack ahead of them, and they are going to be off the back for the rest of the race. So it is critical for them to push hard right now out of the gate and see what they can do. We're going to do a little swap up here. You can see here Brown still has not caught on, so I think up here about 37th place is going to be the last place that's going to make this gap and ride on from here. Getting my second instance switched over here so we can focus on what's going on in the men's race here. Good morning to everybody. Assuming it's morning for me. It is about 7 a.m. my time. Watching a good race before I get my workday started off. Here you can see the riders are riding through the volcano area of the circuit. And they seem to be just kind of riding together here a little bit. We'll come up here in just a minute onto a segment that is usually a segment that riders will use to get away a little bit. We're gonna try to find somebody here. So for those of you that don't know what you're watching a video game called Zwift, and this is the CVR World Cup Racing League that we're watching on Zwift. If you want to kind of view and move around and pick your own views of the race today, you can go over to cycleview.cvrworldcup.com and you can get a page similar to what I've got up here for you now, where you can select a pop-up, 1 stream, 2 streams, or 4 streams. You can drop this down and you can select different riders that are currently riding on stream and giving you their point of view. So I can select 2 streams. We can get different people added in here. You can listen to the audio of different riders. So you can kind of get a first-person view and pick your own rider perspective. A lot of these riders, as you can see here with Justin and Eric, are running their own camera, so you can see them truly suffering, and this kind of gives you an image. This is a good one here. They're actually streaming the multi-stream off of Mixer, so you can see Jason, Justin, and Eric, all 3 here. You can see them suffer for real in their pain cave, and see the pain on their face. So you can kind of see how the game works. They're all 3 riding their bicycles in their basement and suffering hard doing it. We are coming up on the attack out of the tunnel here, so we're going to try to get back to a regular view here. So coming up here through this little tower structure, and we see a little attack already by Wagner. Wagner is getting up the road now, and you can see the front of the pack here responding to it. Justin is in orange numbers. Orange numbers is usually over 7 watts per kilogram. Means those riders are going really, really hard at the front. So this attack at the front is, I believe, an attempt by ODZ to force some people to burn some matches off the front of the race here. And you can see here, this attack has gotten away with 3 riders. Mizutani, Smith, and Wagner are off the front now. We're going to look over their shoulder. They're going to go hard up this climb, this little dirt road climb going up into the fountain area. They are hammering hard now. They have a 5-second gap, and the chase behind is going hard, and you're going to see when we drop back here in a minute, there will be a big gap forming in these racers behind. And we'll start seeing some people drop off the back of this pack. So they now have a 4-second gap over the group. You can drop back here to the front of the group. You can see this is the main group now, which has gotten much smaller. You can barely see the 3 guys up the road just going around the corner. And Ortiz is working hard to try to pull that back, so he's trying to bridge that gap. But if we drop back here a little bit, we're also going to see some people in trouble back here. You can see how it's really stretched out. Olsen here looks like he is falling off the back, and you can see now this big gap that is formed behind. So this group of 5 riders here has been broken off the back of that pack from that big punch. Good morning, Bike Viking. Hope things are going well. Enjoying your morning coffee with me. I appreciate that. Seeing a little McQuaid for the win over there at Facebook. Thanks for dropping in this morning and watching, guys. You can see here a big pack of riders. I think they're still pushing pretty strong here. We're going to roll up through here. A little mix of A, B, and C riders in this group. Really scattered and thinned out on the road still. You can see these guys at the front. Turksma, SG really pushing hard. You've got McQuaid and Piper in the gap, and then Ortiz, Smith, Wagner across the gap. So really pushing hard here. This one's a tough one to watch. I'm actually going to zoom up and out on this one a little bit, because this is tough to watch. Looks like they're grabbing onto a group of... We're going to have a group of 7 at the front here, and we're going to spin around here, and we can watch the chase coming behind. You can see that gap. That's a significant gap there. They're really working hard. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be able to do the ladies race quite right today, Julie. The ladies race used a different course, so it's not going to be real easy for me to follow this morning. So I apologize for that. We get the courses straightened out for next week. We'll make sure that we get a little bit of monitoring on them as well. I can try to check out the live results a little bit in the ladies race, and it is showing it's Claudia Baring, Mary Still, and Go Gulp is in the ladies race. It looks like it's just 3 ladies racing there, so we'll keep an eye on that. This should be a 3-lap race. Let me verify that on Cycle View. So we can go over to Cycle View here and we will take a look at it here. We've got a full screen here of Eric Denning, and he is showing he has 18.5 miles to go, and he's 1 of 3 laps. So this is going to be 3 laps of the Watopia Volcano Reverse Course. We now have a group of 7 riders, 4 seconds off the front. Nobody really pushing super hard here. It'll be interesting to see how they play this gap. This is a really long time for 2 riders, or for 7 riders to work off the front. So we're gonna go for a side by side here, and McQuaid is doing a lot of work at the front of this group and pulling really hard to try to keep this gap away. They've got it up to about 10 seconds. So you can see here on one screen we have got the front group, and in the second screen you have got the followers. You can kind of see the gap that they've got on road. They're doing a good job of taking turns pulling in that front group. If you want to see the live results during the race, if you go over to that cycleview.cvrworldcup.com page, there's also a live race results page over there. And you can take a look there. You can see some real-time stats, what is going on during the race. We'll give you a little tutorial into that. You can see here, I can go in here, I can select the CVR World Cup League Spring Season Zone C men's race. I can select to see all riders. I'm going to show all riders across the top here, and you can scroll down here and you can see the different riders, where they're at on course or something like that. So that is what you're seeing going through that. And we had a little freeze up there, so we're going to go back to this screen and try to show that to you. You see here, this front group is not getting really far away. They're still rotating, they're still working hard. We now have a group of, I've got to count them. Looks like a group of 8, and this is the second significant point on course where you can do some real braking of a group. It's this little climb out of Ocean Road. And this is going to be a climb that'll become critical in the last lap. In the last lap, this is where they can attack and really hammer. So, if anybody has any questions, shoot them over to me. I'm watching a lot of the chats, seeing some chat over at Mixer as well. Good morning to those over there. I will say that this is a game. This is a game where people, this is, as people have coined it, the hardest video game ever. The riders actually have to put the force into the pedals to do the work. So, not just a single controller that they have to use, but yet they are pedaling somewhere
Big wheel on
in the world that they have to do the pedaling to make the avatar go forward. And we'll give you a little preview of what that looks like here. We've got Justin Wagner's screen capture here from Cycle View. You can see Justin here on the left-hand side of the screen, pedaling, suffering. His heart rate is at 175 beats per minute right now. He's pedaling a real bike inside his pain cave, and his pedaling is what is making his in-game avatar move. So, these riders are on the app Zwift. They're racing in the CVR World Cup Spring Series Zone C race. These men are mostly amateur cyclists, some pro or semi-pro athletes here as well. Appreciate the hosts over there, Wakeful Ash over at Mixer. That's awesome to see. We're going to be doing a lot more content over at Mixer, guys, so thanks for hanging out. Make sure you give us a follow while you're over there. And you can follow along with us when we go live so you can get those notifications. We're also live on Facebook and over at CycleView. We're getting some shout outs going to Claudia. Way to go to catch the break, McQuaid, go draft. So we're getting a little draft team banter going on over there. We're going to get a little side-by-side action going. We can see that lead group along with the chase group. About a 15-second gap, which is still a manageable gap for that second group. This is no way a broken race yet. This is actually heating up to be a good chase, I think, because this front group is not going to be able to keep someone on the front at 5.5 plus for the entire race. I don't believe. They might, but this is a big ask. They're a third of the way through the race. 2 more laps to go. So one of the things you'll see here is you watch through some of these rider lists, and in these rider lists, we're getting some people attacking here in the second group. So this is going to be a key moment of the race for this second group. So let's drop back here and watch this. I think this might be an organized team effort here by ODZ. We were just getting ready to start talking about teams where they had some things broken apart. So +1S rider along with Andy Jenner and Turksma are really attacking off the front of this group, and they're starting to get the lead group in sight. So we may have a few other riders bridging this gap now. Excuse me. So we have 3 riders now kind of in no man's land. They're 9 seconds back from the leaders. They're 7 seconds up from group 2. So here we're forming yet another little break here in the pack. We're going to drop back. I've got a question. Is Akibe in the chase group? I believe he is. So we're going to go back and see if we can find Mr. Akibe. And here he is, just sitting comfortably in the back of this chase pack. Sadeo Akibe was our performance bracket winner at the Los Angeles live event just a week ago. So Sadeo was a super guy. I got to meet him. Is really strong on the bike and did an awesome job at that live performance. So shout out to Akibe here, sitting into the chase group and trusting that this pack is going to pull this group back. The one thing here we'll talk about a little bit with teams, you'll see in this pack, and we'll go back to a double view here so we can watch a little bit side by side too. But you will see a lot of those ODZ jerseys. Teams will not work against teams, so, or at least they shouldn't work against their own teammates. So in the front group, we have Justin Wagner and Justin Purificati from Team ODZ. You can tell by their jerseys and then often by tags that they put in their name what teams they're associated with. having two ODZ teammates in the front group, the ODZ teammates that are in the chase groups are not going to pull back the efforts of their teammates in the front group. So anyone who's ODZ that's in one of these chase groups, the only way that they're going to get to that front group is do what we call a bridge. And in a bridge, it will not be pulling other people across. It's going to be an attack to get across that group by yourself, not helping someone else across. So Team ODZ here in this second pack is just going to sit in as long as they can and rest. At the end of the race, they will race the people that they're with for the positions within that group, and if the other people in that group outside of their team pull back that front group, they've got fresh legs to then work for the team some more. So a lot of team strategy will come into play in a race like this, and we'll watch that as this race plays out. We're going to jump in here to our main view. This is the view of the front riders. It does look like this group is still sitting in with about 8 riders. We had the group of, and this is bouncing back a little bit, we had the group of Andy Jenner and those guys trying to make it across this gap. Andy Jenner and B. Turksma made an attempt to come across this gap now that's a 30-second gap. They were not able to do that, and now you can see that the chase pack is catching them, and here is Akibe. As soon as the attack happened, Akibe goes on the attack, and he is going to keep this second pack on its toes. So, just talking about Sadeo just a minute ago, and they are hammering away, getting off the front of the pack here. So, interesting little attack by Akibe. You can see Mateus is following that up. He is going to chase this group and try to get a hold of Sadeo and see if they can get something going. While they're chasing back and forth and battling with one another here, the lead group is up the road about 15 seconds. So if you guys have any questions, I am keeping an eye on Mixer, Facebook, CVR World Cup, the Cycle View chat. We are available to chat a little bit, respond to questions about the game or things like that. We're going to stay fairly focused on the race most of the time, but I can answer simple questions along the way as we go. Looks like that attack was neutralized, and now the front group here is up the road a little bit. We'll throw up the side-by-side so you can kind of see the gap between the two racers. So these guys are still fairly near to one another. Interesting, you can see here my two instances of Zwift. Daytime and nighttime is not the same for everyone in the game. So you can see that one of my instances is in the daytime and one is in the nighttime. So you can see a little bit of contrast in the way that the screen looks. We're going to watch the front group here, and there's going to be a little bit of attack up this hill. We're going to watch them attack up this hill. This is a key moment in the race. One of the few places on this Volcano Flat reverse course that you can get away. So I think you'll see this in all the races today be kind of a critical moment. People attacking up this dirt road, and until you get up past the fountain at the top here, it can be a really, really hard climb. So you can see here, this group mainly got up here together. So you can see it's a group all together. So we're going to go straight to the chase group and see if they are doing anything any different up this climb. And it does not look like that they are going up this climb with quite the push that the front group did. If you look on the right hand side in their power numbers, most of them are under 5 watts per kilogram, a few of them just touching 5 watts per kilogram. The front group was at 6+ most of the way up there, so it appears like the chase group now has kind of given up that chase. They're settling into this gap about 30 seconds back. And I think the second group of about 15 or so racers are settling in together now. There's just too many ODZ teammates in here. It only leaves about 8 or so riders to do all of the work to pull back that front group. And I just don't think there's quite the strength there to do that. They got away early, and I think they're going to stay away at this point. So how this league works, we are starting in race 1 of the league. There will be 7 or 8 weeks in the league. I believe it's 7 weeks maybe in the league now. And it's a best of type format. So there will be 1 or 2 races. I've got to look up the specific rules for this quarter, but there'll be 1 or 2 races, point races that will be thrown away. And you'll keep your best of, say, 6 races at the end of the league. You score points in every race. You score points by your finishing position and whether you stream on the CycleView app or not. You can receive up to an extra 5 bonus points per week for streaming to the CycleView app. If you win the race in your group, in your bracket, so the A bracket winner for this zone will score 2,000 points. The second place will get 1998. I believe it's 2 points per position. So maximum points that you can score in any given race, I believe, is 2,005 points for streaming and winning the race. You accumulate those points over the league, and the person who finishes the league winning the A bracket in points is invited to the next CVR World Cup live event. The next one is going to be in Vancouver, Canada, and will be at the end of June. I don't have the specific dates, but it's going to be really late June or possibly early July. I believe it's late June. So there's 8 zones throughout the day. Zones A through H, they're staggered 3 hours across the day. So everyone can pick a zone that works for them when their ability and they're able to race. You pick a zone. You are assigned a bracket, either A through D. You are placed in a bracket based on your past racing results. The A bracket being the best racers, down to the D bracket being the least experienced or least successful. And you should be racing against people of similar racing results and ability as you to try to keep those brackets as fair as possible. The end of every season, every quarter through the year, people will be moved up and down in the brackets to place them in better competitive areas. We see a little bit of a move here on the front, so we're going to go zoom into this a little bit. Got a couple riders sneaking away a little bit here. McQuaid, Ortiz, Mutsani pushing away a little bit. So that's kind of the general format of how the league is set up. So you've got 8 zones throughout the day. You've got 3 brackets or 4 brackets within those zones, and then you've got male and female. So there's a lot of smaller subsections within the races for both male and female and the different brackets. The A brackets are the ones that are fighting for that spot in the finals, the live event at the end of the season. The B, C, and D bracket winners can go into a postseason and do a little bit of a race off and have some fun. But most of their things are focused at home racing, not the live finals. So that's kind of the basics of how the league is set up. And how people are earning spots into those live finals that we have now. The esports finals that we do every quarter at the end of every season now. As the season plays out, you will find that we play different courses through the season. So today is a fairly flat course. We're seeing some really strong pack racing today. Everyone is kind of tied together, and just those few critical moments on the course are really what will make or break a race on a course like this. As the season goes on, we will get to some races on courses like the hilly courses on London or Watopia that will really break the races apart a lot. There'll be 6 to 8 minute hill climbs. Riders will really be suffering a lot more, and you'll see a much more separation and much more strategy played in those races about how much effort you use to attack, to pull back brakes, things like that. So most of the riders here are riding something, or a lot of the riders here, I shouldn't even say most. A lot of the riders here are riding what we call smart trainers. And those are trainers that actually vary their resistance based on the terrain within the game. So it's an electric trainer controlled by the computer that's interacting with the computer. and the resistance gets easier and harder based on the uphill and downhill slopes within the game. That is kind of the optimal setup for Zwift, but not the required setup. So that's what a lot of racers favor in their setup. But then you also have a lot of people, and I know Justin Wagner here at the front is a good example of one of the strong racers who does not ride one of those traditional high-end smart trainer setups. Justin rides what we refer to as a dumb trainer. It is simply a resistance unit that you attach to your bike to provide you resistance. So Justin doesn't feel the uphills and the downhills, but his avatar in the game still adjusts its speed for the uphills and the downhills. Justin is transferring his power into the game through a power meter that's mounted within the pedals on his bike. And you can see here this front group is coming up to this little hill climb, so you'll see a little bit of attacking going through there. But that power meter on Justin's bike, then when he goes up this uphill, he needs to put in more effort, and you will see his effort increase. So we're going to get on Justin's avatar here and see if we can watch that a little bit. As Justin goes harder here, that power meter is giving us watts, which is in the upper left-hand corner. Right now, Justin is doing 450, 480 watts, being read by that high-end power trainer that's attached to his bike. For those of you not familiar with cycling, watts is a unit of power measurement. If anyone's familiar with electrical terms, watts you hear from like light bulbs, 100-watt light bulb. This is the same type of unit of measurement. So at 300 watts, Justin is putting out enough power from his legs to power the equivalent to 3 100-watt light bulbs. So that kind of gives you an idea of how the information is fed into the game. So if you want to go faster into the game, you have to force your power meter, whether that's a smart trainer, one of those computer controlled trainers, or a unit directly mounted on your bike via pedals or cranks. You have to put more power into that with your legs in order to get more power into the game and make your avatar in the game go faster. So these guys are doing real efforts on real trainers and real suffering. Up in that blue box in the upper left-hand corner, if you want to monitor more stats, at this level of racing, heart rate is also required, just as an additional unit of measurement to make sure people are putting in fair efforts. So you can see Justin here doing 175 beats per minute. That is a fairly high heart rate. A lot of everyone's max heart rate is a little bit different, so everyone beats a little bit faster or slower than somebody else. But anyone, let's say above 150 beats per minute heart rate, is getting into a very rigorous exercise area at that point, regardless of what your max is. Some of these guys will beat up to 200 or a little bit more, and then a lot of people max out somewhere in the 170s to 190s is a kind of a typical range for a max heart rate. Like I said, that's all variable person to person, and changes with age, but it kind of gives you a rough idea of what you're looking at there. Me, for example, my resting heart rate is down in the 40s. My maximum heart rate is about 196, and I can't maintain more than about 180 or so for about 20 or 30 minutes. So to kind of give you an idea of what those ranges are. These guys are attacking hard now. 1 lap to go. They got 1 more circuit to go. We have Ortiz off the front, hammering hard. He's got 18 meters over these guys. You can see Wang is chasing hard. Justin Wagner is coming across this gap. Really high efforts coming across this now. Justin Purificati, his teammate, Team ODZ, is on his wheel coming across here. Justin is one I know from racing him previously. 180 heart rate for Justin is just a normal heart rate for Justin. He's got a high. He goes to a really high number, so I think Justin still has a little bit left in the tank. Being this group and the way it's set up, I think this is going to be Justin, Purificati and Wagner. This is going to be their race to kind of set up for one another. So who's gonna work for who? Who's gonna go for the gold here? And see how they do. So get a little bit of suffer face going on. You got a little bit of, I'm gonna switch over to this. A little bit of an attack going on in the second group now, so we're going to look at that. we've got Andy Jenner, we've got Ming for +1S, and Andy Jenner attacking in Group 2. And they got a couple second gap, still flying. So, as we've got that going on, we're going to give you guys a little bit of a first-person view here on Cycle View. You can see Justin now is really suffering. You can see his body language changes over the race, and we're really working hard. These guys at the front just did that big attack, and they are working hard here. We have got Justin over here at Cycle View, and you guys can go take these selections yourself. We've got Jason Flores over here, who's actually broadcasting a triple view of Justin, Eric Denning, and himself. We've got Sadeo Akibe, our CVR World Cup Performance Finalist winner. Sadeo, you can see him really suffering there. Sadeo rides rollers at home, so it is interesting to watch him fight on the rollers as opposed to riding on a traditional smart trainer. So, if you watch this closely, keep an eye on Sadeo's bike. You'll actually see him kind of move back and forth a little bit. So he's on a series of drums that are spinning at just a probably about a 2 foot, maybe 3 foot width is the width of the drums that he's riding on, and he has to steer his bike and keep it on those trainers. So definitely an interesting setup to race on. I ride rollers from time to time, but I do not race on rollers. You end up flying off the side. It's hard to get out of the saddle and sprint, which actually Sadeo is doing here. Standing up, getting out of the saddle takes a lot of really good technique on the rollers. So kudos to Akibe for rocking the rollers in a race. Definitely a challenge to do, and he's not going the easy way out, that is for sure. So apologies guys, I think I'm gonna have to restart one of my instances here. So we're losing a little bit of those guys, so we're gonna watch Akibe pedal away here, and we've got a view here of group number 2, and we'll get restarted with the other instance of Zwift here. We're gonna get the rider view up there with the front group so we can make sure nothing's going on in the front pack while we get the other version of Zwift going again here. If you look closely though, Sadeo is suffering. You can see the sweat, the facial expression, heart rate down around 150. It's definitely challenging trying to attempt this on rollers versus a standard trainer, because you're not just balancing yourself on the putting effort into the pedals, but you're also trying to keep yourself balanced and stable. They are not all in the same building. These are people all over the world riding. No one here is, or no one that I know of here would be in the same physical location. So Sadeo, for example, I know is based out of the out of Japan. A lot of the ODZ riders, the two Justins that are in the front, one of them is a Canadian rider, the other one is from the Pacific Northwest, I believe the Utah area. So all of these guys, for the most part, and ladies, would be riding in their home, on their home trainer setups through the video game. You can ride the video game through a PC app. It's available for Mac and iOS devices, including Apple TV. So those are the main platforms that you can use to race on the app. Some of the ODZ guys are in Utah. A lot of the ODZ group is based out of the Pacific Northwest, Utah, Seattle, the western ODZ team as a group was kind of formed, let's say in the Pacific and Mountain time zones in the United States. So you're going to see their kind of core group from that area. But they definitely are not only focused there now. They're spread out all over the world. But that's kind of where their heritage came from in the early days. You can see here a little bit of a kick up into this fountain area again by the front group. Justin Purificati is kind of leading the way here, following Ortiz. Doesn't look like this kick is going to be enough to break anyone off the back. We do see Smith suffering out the back here a little bit, but he's fighting his way right back up through this. So, did I give away some weaknesses? They're giving me a little bit of a hard time over at Facebook giving away my weaknesses, so we'll see. So Scott is saying, really, I've never seen one here. Scott, hit me up offline. I can chat with you a little bit. There's a core group, I believe, Utah and Idaho, maybe. But yeah, there's a pretty good group forming up in that way. It may be more Idaho. I may have been off on that, but I know the Boise area is a popular one for a core ODZ group as well. But for those of you guys interested in watching people suffer and talk and communicate while they're racing, that CycleView site that I've shown you is a good place to go. cycleview.cvrworldcup.com. And you can see here we've still got Akibe over here suffering on the rollers, rocking the rollers. I will be racing in a race myself in Zone H, which is a little over 12 hours, 14 hours from now. So if you want to come back and watch me suffer, I will try to communicate a little bit while I'm riding. You can chat with me on the CycleView chat or at my own personal Mixer and Twitch pages while I'm streaming. But come back and join me in my race. You can see a little bit more of the first person suffering. A lot of times while I'm racing, I'll actually talk a little bit of strategy during the race and give you guys some info. So if you're new to Mixer or to Zwift and the CVR World Cup, and you want to see a little bit more of that kind of first person and what's going on in a race, that sort of thing, definitely tune into the CycleView website. We have races every 3 hours today, so we've got another set of races starting in just over 2 hours. A lot of the races are going to be broadcast in the locations that you're watching them at now. So make sure you follow and get notifications for when we go live. You can stay tuned and kind of see the racing go on throughout the day. There will be some races that are much larger than this. The typical European race, which is Zone E, should be about 8 hours from now, is typically a very large race. But really, all of these races will probably have upwards to 100 plus people in them consistently throughout the day. So Outcast is asking over at Mixer, what kind of equipment do you need? If you go over to Zwift.com and they've got like a get started page, they can go through that. You can start with something as simple as a $100 dumb trainer or basic bike trainer and a speed sensor, and you can get on the platform and you can ride. When you get into racing, a lot of the high level racing requires a power meter, so that's a little bit more of an investment, a couple $100 to get a good used power meter, or there's a few new ones on the market now that'll come out for $300 to $400, or you can get into the smart trainer. So you can get started if you already have a bicycle that will fit onto a basic trainer. You can get started for less than $200 with new equipment. And then that's assuming you have a computer or a device that will run the game and that you have a bicycle that will fit on the trainer. That will get you started with the basic setup to get on here to ride and to work out. So I'm going to focus a little bit more on the race here, guys. Now we're coming close to the finish. We're going to switch over to, just to kind of give you an idea, we're going to keep this in our back pocket a little bit while we're watching the races here. We've got this view here of Justin And we're going to keep this. Justin is the one guy in this front group that is streaming currently. So we're going to be able to bounce between the attack that's going on here. And actually, there's an attack going right now. So I'm going to keep this on Justin because you can see the timing here is off by about 10 seconds. You're going to see Justin in this live feed react to this attack. You're going to see the draft team attack here. And you will see Justin's human analog here jump to respond to that. So he's about 30 seconds behind real time here. So here, as you see, there you see the red rider in Justin's feed attack. And then Justin jumps and is closing that gap. And you're going to see his heart rate go up. You see his power numbers go up. You can see him really starting to suffer on the bike. And as soon as he grabs that wheel, yes, drafting is a thing in Zwift. As soon as he is on the wheel of that rider and in that draft, he backs off a little bit. So we're going to go back and watch this first person and see if we can watch the sprint for the end. We are seeing a lot of team riders really building. Okay, here we go. Justin Purificati is going to attack. We're attacking from a long way out now. They're about 3K from the finish. This is where the team is going to start setting things up. Based on Justin attacking where he did, I expect that Justin Purificati is doing work to set up Justin Wagner for a sprint. So everybody has to cover Justin Purificati's attack, and Justin Wagner is going to sit at the back of the group and just draft the group back to that front pack. Once we get through the A riders here today, I will try to stay in game and drop myself back and watch the different groups sprint into the finish. So I apologize not getting much view of the C, B, C, and D riders here because I've had to restart both of my groups now. I don't actually have the A, B, C, D rider information directly on my screen anymore to really know who's in which group. So they are still just sitting in here. The second group is doing a little bit of cat and mouse as well. That chase group looks like they've got a few guys attacking. Andy Jenner is another, it's a name I've said a lot, who is still doing a lot of attacking in that second group. So we're going to keep an eye on that in my second feed a little bit and make sure nothing big is going on there, but we want to stay focused on this front group for now. And this is another key moment here. Somebody is going to go hard up out of this ocean and try to break it apart. They are down to less than 2 kilometers to go. This race will be over in about 3 minutes. So this is the point where guys will start really ramping up the effort, making guys suffer to the end. Wang is putting in a big effort here, but did not go anywhere. He backed right off of it. So it looks like they are all together now. They're going to do a right-hand turn onto the start-finish straight and start opening up sprints. So Justin Purificati is definitely doing a lead up. Wang is kicking it again. Oh no, we're losing him. We are losing him. We're going to go to our other feed because we do not want to lose the end of this race. My apologies, guys. This is a Zwift bug with the watchers, and we have got them on the other. This is why we keep 2 streams up all the time. So here we go. They are coming into a sprint on my second machine now, and we're going to keep an eye on him. Justin Purificati is on the gas at the front, keeping the pace high, and he is doing this so his teammate Justin Wagner can sprint over top of him. So we're going to stay on Justin's avatar here. Justin is not going to go to the front to the last second here. You can see he's putting out the highest watt per kilogram of anybody, but here comes Wang. Wang has got 16.5, but did he go too late? Oh, is Wang going to come around him? I don't think he is. Oh, I think Wang got him at the line. Killer sprint for those guys. let's see if we can get the 3 up real quick. We're gonna watch this 3 up while we drift back here a little bit. You can see Justin really hammering there. That was his sprint face. He's a few seconds behind, so we can see it. Big sprint by Justin. Well done, and you can see the finale screen that comes up for him. So here we come into the sprint for the second group. And Wang is going first, and we have got S. Wang. Akibe is right on his wheel. Akibe is going for a second guy in this next sprint. It looks like Wang has broken away. Akibe is locked into second. Denning from ODZ fighting hard here to get into the top 3 of this. We're going to move backwards very quickly here, guys, so we don't get thrown out. Andy Jenner here, who did a lot of work for Team ODZ over this race, just rolling across the line, and we need to go back a little farther, and we're not going to get to... No. So we are out of the event now, I believe. That is unfortunate. So we're going to try to get restarted here, guys, and see if we can get back into the event a little bit. The way the event is finishing here, it's hard to keep a hold of the different riders in the different events. I'm going to see if I can find a rider in the B or C group to ride with here. I think we've got one. Oh, we do. Here we go. I got lucky. We are in with, I don't know if this is the next pack on the road, but this is a pack nearing, maybe, the end of the race. Yes. So I'm seeing some names in this group that are part of the CVR group. Teshi, M. White. These are riders in here. I'm going to move forward a little bit because it looks like there are other riders up the road here. Here we go. We've got another pack coming into the finish here. We'll keep an eye on them. Linux and those guys. So we'll keep an eye on them while we'll get another stream going as well. Let's see what this little group does here between Kirk, Brown, Broadman, Olsen, Linux. Get another sprint going here. See if we can see how this sprint finish is coming up. No one is launching a sprint yet. So we'll see how they go. Oh, and there goes Brown. Brown is up the road. Let's look over his shoulder. Is anybody coming behind him? I'm not seeing anybody react to this yet. I think Brown may run away with this one if no one reacts to him very, very, very soon. And here comes Olsen. This may be close at the line. They are fighting hard. Broadman is coming. Is Broadman going to have enough slingshot? I think it may just be a second too late, or does he get it? I think he may do it. He did. Broadman comes around him at the finish. And we jumped back real quick, guys. Again, to try to prevent losing them.
They will kill anything.
This is the next group on the road. Within the CVR group. We're going to try to see the unofficial results that we're seeing for Group A. Justin Wagner, Mizutani, Frank Ortiz, Jim McQuaid, Justin Purificati. That is your top 5 for the A bracket race within this one. For the B bracket, we're seeing Eric Denning, I Am Batman, Cameron Moss, Ryan Kettleson as your top 5 for the B bracket. Congratulations to Ryan there. Nice, good race there. C bracket winner is Jason Flores. And let's slide forward here a little bit so we can watch this fight toward the front. Jason Flores, Andy Jenner, Janik Werlin is still on course. Marty White and Teshi, which I believe those guys, Teshi is here in this group, as well as Marty White is the rider that we are on right now. And Werlin is up the road 4 seconds. So this is a battle for third spot in the C bracket race right here. We have picked this one up on the road. 2 C bracket finishers have finished with the groups up the road, and Werlin, White, and Teshi within these 6 seconds right here are fighting for the third spot in the B bracket right now. It looks like Werlin is going to walk away with this, but White is still coming on strong from behind here, and see if he can close this gap. Looks like Werlin's got the kick to stay away here unless there is a really big push from White. 4 seconds is still closable, but it's going to require an all-in sprint. So White now, it looks like for the C bracket, it's going to be Werlin, White, and then Teshi coming in to round out the top 5 of that C bracket. Just before they cross the line here, it looks like M. White got a few orange numbers and he held on to that spot. We're dropping back just a little bit, guys, to keep a hold of the race here for a minute. And we'll see if we can find some D bracket finishers that should be coming in here very soon. So somewhere around 19.4 miles in, we have Arista. Here we go. This, I believe, is our D bracket leader right now, along with Giebler and Dr. Chris Haskell. So for any of you guys that are familiar with the CVR World Cup event in LA, Dr. Haskell, just a few minutes behind the current rider that we were following, was one of the main commentators at the live event. So we have to drop in, give Mr. Haskell a ride on, encourage him to finish strong and stay on that podium of the D bracket. So it looks like most of the head-to-head, side-by-side racing is wrapped up for the men today. Guys, we've got had a good race here today. We're going to race 5 more times today. So we've got brackets D through H left to race today. They'll be commentating for most of those brackets. Make sure you check out the CVR World Cup Facebook page, CVR World Cup on Mixer. Like us, follow us in those locations. You can get notifications when we go live. Check out cycleview.cvrworldcup.com. Those broadcasts will also be there, along with the first-person views that you can select of different riders that are streaming for that race. Pretty much every race throughout the day will have some riders streaming their first-person views. So make sure you come back and check us out. Races start pretty much on the top of the hour every 3 hours throughout the day. Starting in just under 2 hours from now will be the next race start. Some of those race times vary from up to 5 minutes before the top of the hour to 10 minutes after the top of the hour. So it's a little bit of variability there to manage all of the different events within the tool. But the goal is every 3 hours throughout the day, plus or minus up to 10 minutes. So come back, check us out throughout the day, ask questions. You'll see different commentators on here throughout the day. So some of us you may like more than others. Some of us have a little different style than others. So any feedback you've got, any questions you've got, we'll try to watch the chat. I appreciate everybody over at Mixer. A lot of you guys are new to the game. Keep asking those questions. We'll do our best to keep you informed while we're still keeping an eye on the race. So we appreciate those questions. We appreciate you guys following along there, as well as those questions over at Facebook. We're watching those as well. I will not be back commentating any races today on the current plan, but I will be back racing the final zone of the day, which is the H zone. So I myself am a racer in the A bracket. I got 3rd place in the last live event in LA, so I'm a highly competitive racer on this platform as well. So I will be suffering myself and racing for a top finish in the H zone to finish out the day today. So I'm in the central time zone in the United States, so it's just starting my work day now. I'm going to log off from here and I'm going to go get my work day started. And just before I go to bed tonight, you'll see me back here racing live. So thanks to everybody who jumped in. If you don't know about CVR World Cup, go check out cvrworldcup.com. There's options over there for the league, for the cycle view, for all the different statistics that they provide. If you want to know about the game, that's swift.com. Check us out over there. And then the live streaming, Facebook, Mixer. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us. We appreciate it. And I'm going to sign off for now, and we will be back in a couple hours to get the next race going. So hope everybody has a good day, and we will see you on the next round of races. Thanks.